All Muslims are not terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. This is a general statement made and spread and propagated by world media, as well as critics and enemies of Islam. Due to ignorance, many people blindly believe this. Let us examine the truth. Were the assassins of the presidents of the United States of America were Muslims? Was John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated President Abraham Lincoln, a Muslim? Was Leon Francois Gauche, who assassinated President William McKinley, a Muslim? Was Charles J. Guiteau, who assassinated President James A. Garfield, a Muslim? Was Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, a Muslim? Was James Earl Ray, who assassinated black civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., a Muslim? Was Gavrilo Principe, who assassinated Francis Ferdinand, the Austrian Archduke, whose assassination triggered World War I, a Muslim? Was Adolf Hitler, the Nazi leader, and Mussolini, the leader of Italian fascist party, and thousands of their soldiers and men who were instrumental for the destruction and death of millions during Second World War, Muslims? Was Joseph Stalin, the communist dictator of Russia, a Muslim? Was Pol Pot, the dictator of Cambodia, who ordered the massacre of millions, a Muslim? Was Nathuram Godse, who assassinated Mahatma Gandhi, a Muslim? Was Satwant Singh and Beat Singh, who assassinated Indira Gandhi, were Muslims? Were the American President Truman, who ordered to drop atom bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the pilots Paul Tibbett and Charlie Sweeney, who dropped atom bombs and had killed 166,000 innocent people and destroyed the lives of millions, were Muslims? Was Andres Bering Breivik, who killed 8 persons by planting bombs and destroying government building at Oslo, and later indiscriminately firing at the youth camp of Norwegian Labour Party at Utøya Island, killing 69 persons, a Muslim? Likewise, it was not Muslim rulers who started and waged the First and Second World Wars and brought horrifying miseries to humanity. Similarly, it was the Christian rulers of Britain, France, Italy, Portugal, Spain, Denmark, and other European countries which fought for centuries and killed millions and looted many countries for colonization. None of the presidents of the US who ordered invasion of countries like Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Afghanistan and Iraq was Muslim. Likewise, it was the Hindu fanatics that massacred 3006 in 1984 Delhi riots, 1,000 Muslims. In 2002 Gujarat riots, 1,000 Muslims. In 1992-93 Mumbai riots, and 900 Muslims in 1989 Bhagalpur riots. The LTTE had carried out numerous suicide bombings and killings, and the leaders, members and supporters of LTTE were Hindus and not Muslims. Likewise, it was the Buddhist monks who are behind the continuing genocide of Rohingya Muslims, and they are committing unspeakable cruelties. Again, it was not Muslims who were behind the Rwandan genocide, which resulted in the death of nearly 1 million people. It is the Jews which occupies the Palestinian territories and are indiscriminately killing Palestinians. Statistics reveal that Israel has killed 2,061 Palestinian children since September 29, 2000. The CNN Gun Project report revealed that during 2011, more than 32,000 people died and 70,000 suffered non-fatal injuries in US by gunfire. Gun violence statistics reveal that firearms kill 30,000 people each year in the US. More than 30 people are shot and murdered each day in that country. And it is not Muslims who are behind these deeds. World media and many Christian missionaries, neoconservatives and Islam bashers have tried to paint terrorism as a largely or exclusively an Islamic phenomenon. They often state that Islam is inherently violent, Christianity is inherently peaceful, and there is no such thing as a Christian terrorist. Tell that to the victims of the army of God. Tell that to the victims of Ku Klux Klan, KKK. Tell that to the victims of Maronite Christian militia. Tell that to the victims of Lord's Resistance Army. Tell that to the victims of the National Liberation Front of Tripura. Tell that to the victims of the Venus priesthood. Tell that to the victims of various Christian terrorist outfits of Europe. Their victims and relatives will give befitting answers to the false claim that there is no such thing as a Christian terrorist. The 1982 Sabra and Shatila massacre carried out by Maronite Christian militia that targeted unarmed Palestinian refugees is considered genocide by the United Nations. The Lord's Resistance Army, a Christian cult and guerrilla army, was accused of using child soldiers and of committing numerous crimes against humanity, including massacres and abductions, mutilation and torture, rape, and of using forced child sex labor. Therefore, there are terrorists and criminals among Christians and Muslims, Jews and Hindus, atheists and people belonging to other faiths. It's not the name which makes a person a Muslim or a Christian, a Hindu, a Jew, etc., but their adherence to the principles of their faiths. Therefore, rationality and justice demands us to distinguish the terrorists and criminals and their activities from the religious tags that are attached to their names. If it is the name that makes a person a Muslim or a Christian, a Hindu, a Jew, etc., then every murderer with a Christian name should be called a Christian murderer. Every rapist with a Hindu name should be called a Hindu rapist. Every robber with a Jewish name should be called a Jewish robber. Those who argue that certain Muslims indulge in terrorism because their scripture supports it should first look at the beam in their own eyes. Can you think about Mahabharata and Ramayana, the Hindu scriptures, omitting the descriptions and backgrounds of wars? All the advice given by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu scripture, is to inspire the reluctant Arjuna to fight with his kith and kin. The book of Deuteronomy in Bible, verses 10 to 17 of chapter 20 states, "When you approach a city to fight against it, you shall offer it terms of peace. If it agrees to make peace with you and opens to you, then all the people who are found in it becomes your forced labor and shall serve you. However, if it does not make peace with you but makes war against you, then you shall besiege it. You shall strike all the men in it with the edge of the sword. The women and the children and the animals and all that is in the city, all its spoil, you shall take as booty for yourself. You shall not leave alive anything that breathes." It's an undeniable fact that there is a minuscule minority among Muslims and Christians, Hindus, Jews and Buddhists, who interpret verses of their religious scriptures out of context to justify their inhuman actions. However, it is morally wrong to attribute their deeds to the religion their names represent. It is unjustifiable to call these terrorists Muslim terrorists, Hindu terrorists, Christian terrorists, Jewish terrorists, etc. Verse 32 of chapter 5 Surah Maida of the glorious Quran states, "Man qatala nafsan bighayri nafsin aw fasadin fil arli faka'annama qatala an-nas jami'a wa man ahyaha faka'annama ahya an-nas jami'a." Whosoever killed a person, unless it is for killing a person or for creating disorder in the land, then it shall be as if he had killed all humanity. And whosoever gave life to one, it shall be as if he had given life to all humanity. According to Islam, except to keep your body alive when someone tries to take it, the right to protect one's own life and property and to prevent disorder on land is the domain of the state and not individuals. Not even half percentage of the total verses of the Quran deals with grounds for waging wars. The so-called Islamic terrorists are killing far more Muslims than people belonging to other faiths. They are bombing masjids more than the religious places of other faiths. No true Muslim can plant bombs in masjids, that too on Fridays when believers congregate to praise their Creator. Still, the media has the audacity to propagate that these people are Muslims. The media is doing this deliberately to prevent people embracing Islam. Those who attach tag of Islam and Muslims to these terrorists and murderers and criminals are committing the worst blunder and injustice. In fact, this wrong description has given respectability and a label of martyrdom to these inhuman criminals and murderers. And ignorant people join these criminals under the wrong impression that they are fighting for a religious cause. We Muslims have the common sense to understand the dirty tricks of media, and we are not concerned about it because we know that Islam is the ultimate truth from the Creator, and it has the ideological force to overcome such false, immoral, and unethical propaganda and lies.